Chapter 4. When Danny awoke, he was confused. His body still felt the constant jolting motion of the train, but he was in a warm bed, a quilt pulled up to his ears and sunlight streaming into his face. "Mike," he mumbled and reached out for his brother. His fingers bumped the chest hard enough to wake him. Now he remembered Mr. and Mrs. Swenson. The drive to their farm, Peg crying in the night, curling up to sleep at the foot of her bed. But now he was in his own bed. Danny could hear people moving and talking downstairs. Was Peg with them? As fast as he could, he clambered into his clothes, splashed water on his face and hands and cold water, and flung open the door. The door to Peg's room was open, and the bed was neatly made. Oh no, Danny thought. He was the last one up. He clattered down the stairs and ran to the kitchen, stopping short as Olga, Peg, and a tall, skinny girl with blonde hair and big eyes stared at him. "Lazy, lazy, stay abed," Peg chanted, but Olga smiled and held out a welcoming hand. "You needed your sleep," she told Danny. "Now you need a good breakfast." Peg jumped up and down. "I had an orange," she said, "a real orange, and Gussie's gonna bring me a kitten. The black one with white paws, and Mama combed my hair, and she's gonna make me a rag doll so I have company when I go to bed, and I'm gonna name the kitten all by myself, and..." From all Peg's prattling, one word had stood out, hitting Danny like a blow to the chest. "Peg," he interrupted, "you called Mrs. Swenson Mama." Peg stopped, surprised. "That's what she said I could call her." Danny could feel his face turn hot and red, but he couldn't stop. "We already have a Ma." "I know that," Peg said. "Ma's our Ma, and Mrs. Swenson is our Mama. It's different, see?" Olga put an arm around Danny's shoulders. "I didn't know it would upset you, Danny. We'll think of another name, something easier to say than Mrs. Swenson." Peg's lower lip dropped. "I like calling you Mama," she insisted. Danny looked at Olga square in the eyes and took a deep breath and said, "Sure, it's a good name. Peg could call you that if it pleases both of you. It just took me by surprise, and there's so much to get used to. I didn't mean to..." Olga pulled him forward, at the same time giving his shoulder a reassuring pat. "You and Gussie haven't been introduced," she said. "Gussie comes in each day to do many of the household chores. She's a fine girl, a good help, and we're very lucky to have her." Gussie gave Danny a broad, lopsided grin. Danny guessed she wasn't much older than 14, but her arms were hard and muscular, and they shook hands. Her grip was as strong as any man's. Danny tried not to wince as he pulled his hand away. "I would have been here yesterday when you come," Gussie said, "but the widow Pratt could chase me off as soon as I clean all the vegetables for her. She said she had to do the rest of what needed to be done." Gussie's grin became wider. "The widow Pratt likes to take charge of everything and everybody." "Now, Gussie," Olga said, "Annie Pratka is a good, caring woman. She only wants to help. She needs another husband instead of living with kinfolk. She needs a husband who'll do right for her and not die penniless like Mr. Pratka done. That's what my ma says." Olga's cheeks turned pink. "That's enough, Gussie. No more gossip. We have work to do." Gussie cheerfully picked up her bucket and rag, leaving the room as Olga turned to Danny. "Breakfast for you first," Olga said, "and then you might join Alfred. By this time tomorrow, you and Peg will be at school." "School?" Danny's mouth fell open, and he could feel his heart hammering with excitement. "A real school? They told us we'd have school, but I didn't dare think about it. Peg and me, we've never been to school before." "Can you read, Danny?" "Yes, ma'am. I really like to read near as much as Mike does." He glanced down at Peg with concern, but Peg's young. She's never learned. Peg's chin jutted out, and she made a face at Danny. "Mama said I don't need to know yet. She said that's what school's for, to teach people to read and know their letters and cipher. Bet you don't know all that, Danny." As it happened, he did. But before he got a chance to answer, Peg went on. "Gussie's going to give me the dinner pail she used to carry, and she's got one for you that used to belong to her cousin who worked laying telegraph lines." Peg chattered on, but Danny had stopped listening. As he wolfed down his orange along with eggs and biscuits and fried potatoes and ham, he tried to imagine what school would be like. He couldn't picture it. He had no idea what to expect. All day he worked with Alfred, starting to learn how to care for horses, hearing the excitement, the first splash of milk into the pail as he milked the cows, and walking the boundaries of the farm. But part of his thoughts kept racing ahead to the next day in school. Finally, Alfred led Danny to a clearing at the far end of the western boundary of his property. At his feet, the ground sloped away steeply. Open fields below them stretched out the banks of the broad Missouri River. "This here is one of my favorite sights," Alfred told him. "I like to see the twists and turns of the river. It's like a silver snake." "It's like a snake with spots," Danny said. "Look at all the boats." Alfred nodded. "There's almost as many boats as on the big Mississippi. You crossed on your way here, you remember?" "Oh, yes, I do. We crossed on a ferry. A steam-driven side-wheeler," Danny said. "It was grand. One of the lads, Jim was his name, said he hoped to be chosen by a family who lived in a boat on the river." "I doubt he'll have much chance of that," Alfred said. "It's just what Mike told him," Danny said. "Mike's smart. He always knows what's best." Alfred looked down at Danny. "I know you're a smart boy, too. Has Olga told you tomorrow you're going to school?" "That she has," Danny said. He took a deep breath. "I want very much to go to school, but..." He paused, furrowing his brow. "But what?" Alfred asked. Danny tried to find the right words. "Of course I know that school's for learning, but I don't know how it's done. Peg will be with the littles, so it will be easy for her, but I don't know where to go, where to sit, what I should say. I want to do things the right way and not have the other lads thinking I'm stupid." "I understand," Alfred said, nodding solemnly. Fortunately, I can tell you what you need to know. He sat on the grass and Danny dropped down on a spot beside him. The school's a one-room building, he said. Each morning the teacher will ring the school bell as a sign that school's begun. The boys and girls will go sit in the schoolroom. And when I go in the schoolroom, where do I sit? Danny asked. As to where your desk will be in the schoolroom, I don't know. The teacher will have to tell you, Alfred said. The girls sit on one side of the room, the boys on the other. Little children in the front, older children in the back. You'll probably be somewhere between the middle and the back of the room. Danny nodded. He figured he could wait till the others were inside and see where the boys sat. And what should I do with my dinner pail? There's a section of the room at the back that's called the cloakroom, Alfred explained. There's plenty of hooks where the boys and girls hang their coats. And there's shelves for dinner pails. Danny nodded again, and Alfred went on. There's a stove in the center of the schoolroom and desks around it. And with a new school opened a few years ago, each student had a desk, but now there's more families in the area, so I understand that many children now share desks. You said the boys sit together, so at least I won't have to share a desk with any girl. Anything else? Alfred asked seriously. What's the teacher like? When I think about him, I imagine someone very important and smart who looks like Abraham Lincoln. The corners of Alfred's mouth twitched. Miss Abigail Clark wouldn't appreciate being compared to the likes of Mr. Abraham Lincoln, he said. Miss Clark's a young woman. Came from Illinois last year to take the position. She's well spoken of. Danny sighed with relief. He'd been worried about that impressive teacher. Oh, yes, one more thing, Alfred said. Behind the school building, there's 2 privies, one for boys and one for girls, and they're clearly marked. Ah, Danny said. He'd been too shy to ask, but this was exactly the kind of information that was good to know ahead of time. I think we covered the situation nicely. Alfred climbed to his feet. Can't foresee any problems for you? Danny was satisfied. He couldn't foresee any problems either. He couldn't wait till the next morning when he'd be able to see it all for himself.